Hey guys, welcome to the Touchdown Table. I'm Ryan, that's Tyler, that's Jordan, and in this video we're going to be doing a deep dive into the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, they have a very interesting roster now, and they had a very interesting draft, so we were very interested in talking about the Panthers, and that's what we're going to do. Do you guys want to start with the interesting draft or talk about the roster first?
We can do whatever. What do you want, Jordan?
I don't care. All right, well, I want to start with the draft because I think they're the only team in the NFL that's drafted all defensive players in a long time in the draft. So it was very clear what the new head coach, Matt Rule, wanted to do. So let's go through these picks really quickly. Pick number 7 was Derek Brown.
Mock killer.
We've talked about that. We expected it to be Isaiah Simmons. That seemed very Matt Rule-like for him to draft him. But Derek Brown, not a bad player at all.
No, not at all.
So that was their number 7 pick overall.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had pick 6 in round 2. Got Yeturgos Matos.
I like that
Me
one.
and Ryan were both very high on that. I believe Jordan was too, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
Yes?
He was my third ranked dresser.
Yes. And then at the end of round 2, they got Jeremy Chin. He was probably the best safety on the board at that point. So.
Mm-hmm.
And then they went with Troy Pride in round 4. Not a bad one from Notre Dame. And then Kenny Robinson. This was one of the more interesting players in the draft.
Go Battlehawks.
Yes. Played in the XFL. Went to West Virginia, now into the NFL. And then Brevion Roy from Baylor. I mean, Matt Rule knows him well, obviously, being from Baylor. So I assumed there would be a Baylor player drafted eventually, and that was not a bad pick, considering the relationship between the coach and player. And then Stanley Thomas Oliver in the last round. I would assume he's going to be more of a special teams player from FIU. But those were the draft picks. All defense, so clearly we know what they're trying to do with this team, and it's build up the defense.
Yeah. And I think that it is going to work, but it might take some time because this is a relatively young defense. You know, I don't know if it's all going to be put together. They got some great players.
A lot of Matt Rule's teams take a while to
like you saw, like Baylor took a while to turn around.
In Temple as well.
Yes. And you look at like half their starting defense might be rookies. It's crazy. You know, like there's a lot of good players, but you just wonder like how long will it take till this defense is fully matured and fully, ready to go? Because they're going to be going against some high-powered offenses in that division. You know, you got Breeze and the Saints. You got Tampa Bay now with Brady having fun with Evans and Godwin, and you got Atlanta, who they usually have a decent offense. So yeah, this young defense is going to have their work cut out for them.
Yeah, and I think what we were talking about with how it takes time to build it's going to take time to get this team to be good. That might have an influence on the end record prediction. So while we're on the defense, let's just talk about that first, and then we can talk about the offense. So on their line, they have Brian Burns, who they drafted 2 years ago from Florida State, and then they got Yeturgos Matos. We talked about that. Otherwise, there's really not that many big names besides Derek Brown, who they drafted as well. Yeah. Those 3 are the ones, and Brevion Roy also both are out there as guys to watch out for. Plenty of other guys. They have depth at that position. But the defensive line is definitely not one of the scarier in the league, but it's not one where you have a day off if you're an offensive lineman. Mm-hmm. Especially with the outer edges up and down with Brian Burns and Yeturgos Matos.
Yeah, Brian Burns did good last year.
Yeah. And then also their secondary. I don't want to continue to talk, so I'll let someone else take that one over.
Well, I think the secondary is really important. I somewhat disagree with you on the defensive line because I think it is a decent group of men so far.
It's not that bad, but it's not.
I think
it's not top 10 defensive line.
The front the front 7 for them.
Maybe
it got a little bit weakened, but it's now getting built up. As we talked about, the draft was all defensive heavy. So after Luke Kuechly retired, this whole team is kind of transforming into a younger team, like Ryan said. So we talked about the front 7. Well, I actually didn't name any linebackers. But
Shaq Thompson.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, that's just one that I see.
But for this team
Luke Kuechly retired.
Yeah.
For this team to really be good, I think the secondary really has to take a step up. They have got some guys who talked about drafting Jeremy Chin. They got Eli Apple in free agency.
Yeah.
They got Dante Jackson, who's been all right. But I think if this team is going to be good, playing against these teams in the division you talked about, Ryan, the Saints, they're playing against Drew Brees, Tom Brady, and Matt Ryan, all guys who, 2 of them have won MVPs. Drew Brees has won a Super Bowl. 3 great quarterbacks, in my opinion. It's going to be very tough. The secondary needs to be great if they want to win games. It's the only way.
Yeah, it is really the only way when you're playing quarterbacks like that. So good point.
Yeah. So that's a lot about their defense. I don't think I said Tahir Whitehead when I was talking about the linebackers. I think he was in there as well. So I do want to make that last point. And now to the offense. Let's start at the quarterback position. This is very interesting with the quarterbacks. I believe all 3 quarterbacks were brought in within the last 2 years. So not exactly a young roster because Teddy Bridgewater, their starter right now, has been in the NFL for a long time. And it's going to be exciting to see what he does.
Yeah, he's, gotten this opportunity and he deserves it because he, a lot of adversity he went through with the injury when he was in Minnesota to waiting behind Drew Brees to get his opportunity. Then he came in New Orleans last year and he had a great, time as the starting QB. Many people said, oh, there's no way New Orleans is going to be able to, really make an impact. They just got to, maybe try and get a wild card because their true season is lost when Drew Brees went down. But Teddy Bridgewater was like, he was able to take that team and get a lot of important wins and was a big reason why the Saints went 13-3 last year. So I'm really excited and I'm happy for Teddy Bridgewater that he finally got paid and he finally got an opportunity to lead an NFL team and be a franchise guy. He got paid a lot, but there's also some interesting guys behind him. So you see maybe they generate some competition, who knows, but I do expect Bridgewater to be the day one starter pretty easily.
I think we all could, and he's had a very interesting career altogether, so it's great that he got his shot again at being a starting quarterback with the Panthers, like Ryan said. And I think he will do good, and that'll be helped by some people around him.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Christian McCaffrey in a second because he is such a great stud on this team, but I really want to talk about some of the wide receivers on this team because I love the group of wide receivers on the Carolina Panthers. We'll start with free agency. They got Robbie Anderson, who was a late one, but they got Robbie Anderson from the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is a great receiver. Now, he couldn't have his full potential because he was playing with Sam Darnold and a not-so-great Jets team last year. Nothing against Sam Darnold that much, but he didn't do too well. Plus, he had mono and stuff, so he was always in.
Yeah.
So that team just struggled. I think Robbie Anderson is a great receiver. I'm going to say it. I don't agree with his hairstyle, but that's about
okay.
it.
It's not exactly stunning.
I think
it's
he's
stunning in not a good way.
So I like Robbie Anderson. I think he's going to be a great receiver. But let's talk about the people who are already on this team.
Yes.
I'm going to talk about two more receivers that I really like. That's DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel. I think that those are 2 great wide receivers. Last year they had to struggle with Kyle Allen and Will Grier going in there. Some different quarterbacks throughout the whole thing. Plus Cam Newton did start as well. So it was really a tough year in Carolina for the receivers, never really getting used to a single quarterback. But I really like Curtis Samuel and DJ Moore. I think they're 2 great young wide receivers who are going to get stuff done with Robbie Anderson. They're going to be 2 great weapons for Teddy Bridgewater to throw to.
Well, yeah, I mean, it definitely is. And then Seth Roberts is also with them now.
That's true.
So I did want to throw that name in there. Pretty good wide receiver core, but then you go to the tight end position, and it's lacking now that they no longer have Greg Olsen on their team anymore with the Seahawks now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move closer to the tight ends to talk about their line. I do like their center, Matt Paradis. He's one of the better centers in the league. At least he was not too long ago. I'm not sure how he did last year. They added Russell Okung. That was another good one. Greg Little is there as well, who they drafted last year, I believe.
Yep.
So there's definitely, I might be missing guys as well. You guys can throw in names. Those are just the ones that stand out to me.
Yeah.
This is not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad, but I also think that there's definitely room to improve. And I think you look at this
I thought it
offense,
should have been addressed in the draft.
But no offensive players allowed. But I think
they did get a decent amount of guys in free agency at that position.
Yeah.
And you look at like quarterback, they think they're set. Running back, they're definitely set. Receivers, as Jordan mentioned, they got some good ones. But tight end and offensive line, I think, are the question marks for this team's offense right now.
Yes. Okay, Jordan. Now let's talk about really the star of the team. You mentioned him earlier. In Christian McCaffrey, the highest paid running back in the league as we make this video, and rightfully so.
Yeah. Well, I really love Christian McCaffrey. I think he got paid so much money because he's such a versatile running back. Now, I know there's a lot of people who disagree with paying running backs so much because a lot of people think that their careers are only short. If you pay them a lot in a long-term deal, then they might let you down in the end. That's maybe why the Rams did not stick with Todd Gurley.
They already made the mistake of paying him.
Yeah, it's true. But I think Christian McCaffrey is a great running back, and he's more than just a running back, he's kind of everything.
Yep.
He's a tough guy. He can slip through tackles, and he's not a huge guy. He's smaller, but he's not afraid of contact. He'll hit people if he has to.
Yep.
But he's so shifty in the backfield. Such a great runner. He's got great speed. But then there's just a whole other aspect of the game. There's the running aspect, which all running backs do. But he is so talented in the passing aspect of the game, especially for a wide receiver, a running back. He could basically line up.
I was going to say, funny you say that because we did talk about Curtis Samuel and DJ Moore as the two stud wide receivers on this team, but you could literally throw Christian McCaffrey in there. That's how much he's involved in this passing offense.
Yeah, he is so great with his hands when he gets that ball in space. He's very, very dangerous. Such a great running back. I think he was deserving of the paycheck that he got. I love Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
And he's a great PPR player in fantasy. So I talk about fantasy.
Yes.
So we don't play PPR, but he's still good in standard leagues.
Yeah. Standards.
So they do have a very interesting roster overall, especially with the draft, especially with the quarterbacks. We could hit on that once again really quickly. They got rid of Kyle Allen as well, so this could have been an even bigger quarterback room. And then Will Greer, who didn't exactly pan out, and then P.J. Walker from the XFL.
Yeah.
So they now got the star in the XFL. He's their third string right now, I believe. Or I'm not sure they've decided yet. Have to go through training camp. But those three guys, it's going to be fun to watch. If Teddy Bridgewater goes down or maybe doesn't play that well, because, I mean, I'm going to be honest here, I'm kind of concerned with it because the Saints offense can make a lot of quarterbacks look very good.
Yeah.
But Teddy Bridgewater deserves the opportunity, and I'm glad he got it. So let's get to the record predictions. Jordan, let's start with you.
I was just going to say one more thing. I think the Panthers will be a very interesting team to watch this year just because their team has transformed so much in the past years, especially since the time when they won that Super Bowl. Now Ron Rivera's gone, Cam Newton's gone, Luke Kuechly, Greg Olsen, they're gone. It's almost a completely different team. We didn't talk about Joe Brady, actually. They brought Joe Brady
that was
in
good
as well, so that should be interesting.
Like 2 seconds after the national championship.
Yeah, so they have a lot of great people, or new people, I should say. Hopefully they'll be great for the Panthers on this roster. It should be a fun team to watch for next year, and I actually am not a fan, but I like this team now that Cam Newton is gone. So my record prediction for them. I do like them as a team, but they are still young, and they are in one of the hardest divisions in the NFL right now. I talked about before the Saints, the Falcons, who I think will have a bounce back year, and the Buccaneers, who are getting the hype train all around them. They're in such a tough division with a young team. There's so many veterans on these teams that they're going to be playing. So I think that although I like their roster, it's not going to be their year just yet. I'm going to say they're going to go 7-9.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said. I just think that they got so much potential, but there's still some gaps on this team. You know, the secondary has to get better, like you said earlier, Jordan. The tight end and offensive line positions, I really think it is the only way, especially when you're playing those great quarterbacks in the NFC South. But I still think that this team has some gaps to fill. They're still a relatively young team. It's going to take time. First-year head coach, new quarterback, new OC. So it's going to take some time. And I just think that maybe not this year, maybe next year, because I still think this division is probably going to go to, it's probably be the Saints division, then, Tampa will be in the mix, and I think Carolina, just not quite their time yet, but their time will come. So I think that they go 6-10, but I think the future could be bright.
Okay, and I mentioned earlier the Matt Rule type of team in the first year. It's not always amazing, and then they get better again. So I'm not trying to hate on the Panthers when I give my record prediction because I do like the roster they're building. Like Ryan said, it's just going to take some time. And once again, me and Ryan have the same record prediction.
Great minds think alike.
I'm going 6-10. Yeah. I mean, I was going to say that I'm not just saying it because he's saying it. That's what I was thinking. Obviously, this could change. These are just our early record predictions without looking at the schedule. But in that tough division, it's going to be tough.
I think it's better just to not look at the schedule to make your record prediction.
Yeah, especially this early. But we have been vibing. We got to keep doing these.
Yeah. But I do see improvement. I think they went 5-11 last year. So I think I'm not entirely sure. So they do get one game better. Let us know what you guys think about the Panthers. If you think we're too low on them, whatever it is, talk about the roster. So put those in the comments down below. Make sure to like this video if you did like it. Subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell. And with that, we'll see you guys later.
See ya.